The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear more about sports in the Capital Region and in Albany County in particular. We are joined today by the Director of Sales for the Albany County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Gina Mintzer. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's so funny because recently, all I've been thinking and talking about is sports, and because we had some really good news not long ago with the NCAA and the Times-Union Center.
Yes, we certainly did.
Were you jumping up and down?
Yeah, pretty much.
Were you at? I know that there was a viewing party. I was out of town when that happened. So were you at that?
I was. I had to hold myself back from photobombing Bob Belber and everybody else. But yes, I was there.
So how exciting! I mean, I'm excited. I think the last time I have been in Albany County since 1994. Didn't really pay too much attention to the 95 NCAA rounds that were here. But in 2003, I'm a Syracuse grad.
Oh.
I not only covered that back in my TV days, I was there when Carmelo Anthony was cutting down that net. And I mean, the electricity in the Times-Union Center was just incredible.
Well, but you have to back up because we had hosted Frozen 4, then wrestling, and then basketball. So we had this run of phenomenal NCAA events, and
the fan fests
and we got better as a community in hosting and attending and being excited, and it made us all better. So when I look back, we've all been working together, the Times-Union Center staff, the Sienna staff, the Union and RPI hockey staff, ECAC staff, the MAC conference staff, together as a team. Actually, it does go back to the 90s, but really that run brought us all together because of those three very different events.
Sure.
So leading up to it, we haven't had as many because the NCAA has spread the wealth. They have a lot of tournaments and a lot of cities won it. So with the changes and the renovations and the addition of the Capitol Center, it really made us much more attractive to bring that event back here.
Sure. Now we're talking in 2018 we have the women.
We have the women.
Women's basketball. 2019.
The women coming back.
2020.
Men's basketball first and second rounds.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. And we had bid on hockey, and yet they've only awarded, they do it in 2-year cycles.
Okay.
So our bid, they will hold for 2020 and 2021.
Okay.
So, because we had bid for 19 through 2022, and they just awarded 18 and 19. So we still could get some hockey business as well.
Okay. And what about this? I'd heard about fencing.
Well, fencing, we didn't win that. What they've done is they've put the D1, D2, D3 togetger, all those championships all together in one city.
Okay, I know there are people out there, Gina, saying there are how many D's
what does that
for
mean?
fencing? But for fencing? Like, I'm sorry, fencing fans.
Right, there are D3 schools, Division 3 schools that actually have fencing programs, as well as large as D1.
Okay.
We our bid went in for the Times-Union Center along with Cornell University.
Okay.
So they have a big fencing program, and it's exciting just to have put in our bid, in that realm. We also bid on women's volleyball. They have a major volleyball conference.
Because of the conference, would that have been at the Capitol Center?
We would have needed the whole complex. We would have needed the TU Center, the Albany Capitol Center, as well as the Empire State Plaza.
Okay.
So we bid as the complex, and it went to Minneapolis, Columbus, Ohio, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. I forget the fourth city. So it did not over the next 4 years. So it went to a tier 1 in our world. world, a much larger city.
Sure, but arguably, I know, talking with Bob Belber, and I know there've been a variety of newspaper stories and TV stories about, we're a secondary market, and yet our Times Union Center does
phenomenal
wonderfully.
things. And it has to do with that. They have a veteran staff, Bob Belber. I mean, he's been there and understands the market. He knows what will sell tickets, what will put butts in the seats. I mean, he's a smart guy. And, we follow him knowing, if Bob tells us to work on this, we have, we're going to do our best and do a great job when we win that bid.
So let's talk about, for those who aren't aware, I mean, it's exciting when there are teams coming,
Yes.
and there are people that are not sports fanatics, right? And
Right.
so they're saying, so what's in it for me? But there's a huge economic impact.
There is a huge economic impact, and what's in it for me is, at the end of the day, for a homeowner in Albany County, at the end of the day, tourism, just based on our 2015 numbers, the average homeowner saves about $1,050 in property taxes just because of tourism-related events.
Really?
Sports, athletics, amateur athletics, youth athletics, it's recession-proof. So even during the darkest times when we were just in that recession not that long ago, sporting events like this, these weekend events, parents are weekend warriors. And so it puts heads in our beds. I mean, people fill our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they shop at the malls,
Sure.
they fill up their car with gas, they buy bottled water, while they're here. And those are dollars that the average homeowner is not it's those additional dollars
Sure.
that helps our property taxes. Even if it happens in Buffalo, it helps to get a road paved here in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
So it's helpful.
Then we, not only is it the staff that would currently be working at any of our facilities, but there are
Absolutely.
additional jobs brought in.
Yes, and so your neighbor may have a job in the hospitality industry in some way, shape, or form that is supported because of this type of business.
Wonderful. So we're talking, I know you gave me some preliminary numbers when we talked before, but when we're talking men's basketball.
Oh yeah, that's a huge economic impact, especially this particular event because the first and second rounds will have 10 teams here. So we had the women's basketball here in 2015, and that was a little over $1 million in economic impact. There was 4 teams that came, and so they played, on a Saturday night and then on a Monday night for their games, and of course after the 4 teams played on Saturday, so 2 teams leave.
Yeah.
Right? So there goes those dollars, and new people come in and stay because of the 2 teams that are left in the tournament and that are going to play for that semifinal. And but with having 10 teams here, you can just imagine how that is multiplied.
Sure.
So for us, we've calculated that out to be over $3.2 million in economic impact.
That is
for
a lot.
timeframe.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is, and it's exciting. Just the people that will go to one of our eateries, restaurants, to just watch.
Sure.
Whether or not they bought a ticket and go to the arena, but they're still spending money because of that particular event.
And when you're talking about rooms, I mean, there was somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 rooms that we're talking about.
Yes, and that's really a flow over the 5 days that they're here, because again, teams will lose and leave because it's an elimination tournament, of course, and then others will come into town because their team is progressing.
Advanced,
Yeah.
And they wait to do that until they
Yes,
see
they do.
that advancement has happened. And so a lot of it, I know Bob Belber and the county executive have talked already a lot about that whole synergy with the complex and the upgrades. You've got the upgrades at the Times Union Center that are fabulous, and I can't wait until that's unveiled later this fall. And then we've got the Capitol Center, which opened. Talk about how that went with the MAC. It opened in time for the MAC.
Yeah, actually, it's not even just the MAC. If you look at these first 45 days that it opened on March 1st, and today is, we're just past the 15th of April. So in that time frame, they hosted the Mac and Cheese Festival, along with the College Fair, the Mac College Fair, followed by, we had our major first convention in there with the New York State Council for Social Studies, and then even this last Saturday night, we had roller derby.
Okay.
which had close to 600 people in there, from fans to actual participants and
Okay,
athletes.
so let's go back. Roller derby. Now I've been in the Capitol Center. How did this
Okay.
work?
So they use the flooring, the subflooring that they use
Yep.
for hockey,
Okay.
as the flooring up on the upper level.
Okay.
Where we actually showcased the Sienna basketball
Correct, I
floor
remember that,
and
yeah, okay.
set that all up upstairs.
So anyone who saw the
So-
press conference or any snippets from that would
Or
probably saw
that they came to the
or if
fan
they've done-
festival during the
True.
MAC tournament.
Yep.
So that's on the upper level, and that's the major room that's that can fit as many as, well, it sat 1,100 for dinner for the annual chamber dinner.
Okay.
A few weeks ago. So they put the flooring down, and then they built with risers, almost like stadium seating
Okay.
on one side, and then regular seating around, and then you have officials, and then the teams on the other side.
Oh, wow.
And then there was concessions offered, and merchandise, and as if you were at the arena, only on a smaller scale.
Okay.
Very intimate and fun and lively, and
Really?
if you could have seen from families to senior couples, it was a variety of people,
Wow.
a
And
cross-section
yeah.
of our population, really.
I
It
was
great fun.
not in town for that, but I would love should that happen again.
Well, they do have 9 more games
Okay.
throughout this season, and the Albany Capitol Center is their home for this season.
Oh wow! So that's the new thing that I learned
Yes.
today. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, where can we find a schedule?
Online, Albany All-Stars roller derby. If anybody Googled that, they'd find their schedule.
They can find the schedule and they can find out how to get tickets and,
Yes.
and all of that as well. Wow!
Yeah, it's great
interesting.
family entertainment.
I bet.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm excited about. I understand that our crime victim and sexual violence center also we had a nice check for the fundraising event at the roller derby,
great.
and I said, oh wow, I wish I'd known. I was out of town. I wish I'd known that, and so now I have to mark my calendar. We are talking today with Gina Mintzer, the Albany County Convention and Visitors Bureau Director of Sales. And I said we're talking about sports, and yeah, it's sports on steroids, kind
Yeah.
of, all kinds of things that are happening, and all kinds of ways that sports plays into what it is we do here for tourism. So let's talk about a couple of other things that come to mind. CrossFit games are up and coming.
Yes, CrossFit Games. We hosted them last year, and nobody knew exactly. You talk about games on steroids,
Yep.
And not that anybody's
No, I
using
mean,
any drug
yeah,
enhancing,
yeah.
but to watch this event at the TU Center, there was close to 5,000 people
Mm-hmm.
in the arena at any given time. There was everybody was from out of town. And they have such a variety of actual athletic feats that they compete in.
Okay.
I can't even describe them. They were climbing up walls on ropes, and they're
Okay.
jumping over hurdles, and they're doing burpees.
Is it like obstacle course type things?
Yes and
or?
no. I mean, but they do stay in their lanes,
Okay.
because you can see them, each person compete against each other. Like if you think of swimming lanes, only
Okay.
they're on the on the floor.
Sure.
Whether they're running and then they have to do 10 push-ups and then they keep going. So it's
Okay.
the obstacles are not like you would think of. More like a hurdle versus a giant obstacle,
Okay.
of
Okay.
some, of a tough mudder. But the interesting thing is we saw folks from all of the Mid-Atlantic, New England states, and as well as Canada.
Really?
And 5,000 people, and everybody's from out of town because they stayed at the arena, they ate at the arena, and then they ate everywhere in the evenings once it was done. They came in on a Friday and left on Monday. Last year it was Memorial Weekend. This year it's
Okay.
the weekend prior.
Okay.
There are 4 regional events throughout the United States, and we're one of them. So,
Wow.
and then winners here go on to the nationals later this summer.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a very big deal and an event that we just want to hang on to and make this a home for them.
I bet. So is it strictly the TU, or is it also the Capitol Centers? Or
No, it is
everything?
strictly the TU.
Okay.
They do all of the events inside. It works for them, and they do on the concourse level a lot of merchandising.
Okay.
So people will buy everything from T-shirts and sweatpants to actual equipment to train in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The Gym Rat Challenge.
Yes. So the Gym Rat Challenge has been around for 20 years, and it's a 2 weekend of events,
Okay.
both Memorial Day and then later in June. And it's really an elite basketball event for both boys and girls, high school and younger. And they use gyms everywhere in Albany, in Schenectady, in Saratoga, and Rensselaer counties.
Okay.
And so their people stay all over because they need that much space. Someday we'd love to have them have indoor courts, where we could put them at the Aframs, all in Albany
Sure.
County, or just at the complex. But we need more sport courts for them.
It's almost like a rat rink isn't that when you're in different?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So there is synergy
Yes.
with various locations and counties.
Yes, and as a producer of an event like that, you'd love to have them closer, and but for the region, it's wonderful business, and it shows off the diversity of our region for those teams that come in each year because the kids grow up, and new kids are coming in, new families are coming in to actually see the capital region.
So it's 2 different weekends. So so they come in May, and they
For boys.
for boys, and then June for the
Yes,
girls.
for
Okay,
girls.
okay. I was going to
Yes.
say, what do they compete? And they come back a month later, and that was going to be a little odd.
Well, and it's not. It's also there are certain recruiters that come as well to watch these kids play. There's recruiters out there that are watching kids play as soon as they're in the 9th grade, or some of them it's 8th graders to see how they progress. And for them, they could land scholarships at
Sure.
Division 1 or 2 or 3 schools,
Or as you like to call them, the D1, the D2, and the D3s.
I know, I forget.
But we are going to have some Olympic events.
We are, and we will begin the summer with the Special Olympics, and we will end the summer with the Jewish Olympics, they're both very exciting. Our Special Olympics has not been here since the late 90s.
It's been that long.
It has, and U Albany was the host back then.
I was going to say, I recall it used to be U Albany. Wow.
And the state games, those summer games, are so exciting. And it's exciting, it's humbling. The athletes are true athletes. They've trained like any other Olympic athlete would train, and as disciplined as any athlete. For the games, they will stay on the campus at Siena for their housing. They will stay in the residence halls while they're here. And then their games, they'll utilize venues for each of their sporting events at Sage colleges, at Hudson Valley Community College, as well as Siena. And they'll use world-class gymnastics, their gyms, for gymnastics, as well as spare time bowling.
Okay.
So they will be around the region.
So it's a true Olympic,
It is
like
a true Olympic event.
Yeah.
The biggest need are for fans in the stands. So we will be asking teams of volunteers to come and volunteer. So everything from your church group to your own athletic team to your team from work to your girls reading book club team. So we really need fans in the stands for that.
And I know
it'll be such a humbling event.
it's interesting because I know that the public service announcement went out recently, and County Executive McCoy and Brother Ed Coughlin are honorary co-chairs. And to be able to see that public service announcement put together, to be able to meet some of the athletes.
Oh, you got to see them, yes.
Yeah, it was very moving. So I know that we're going to be putting up a slate to let volunteers know how they can get involved, where they can go to participate. So I know that will be showing on the screen at any given point in time, and we have that information available. Does the ACCVB have that up on their website?
Yes, we do currently, as well as Siena's website.
It's been up. It's been up on
the
ours.
county.
and
Yeah,
our
it's all
Facebook
around
page.
town. Yes.
So I mean, there is no excuse if you want to volunteer or you want to be a fan. You'll know where to go. So has this been, Gina? I should ask, since Special Olympics hasn't been here since the 90s. Were you involved with this previously, the Special Olympics?
So my role for this is I worked with. They have a housing bureau that helps. That they will work with a hotel for their coaches. And really, it's our role is to help to promote this event and to also be another resource, because we all have friends that might help sponsor, that might take over a certain area to welcome the Olympians, and to be a connector within our community. Because that's first and foremost. Special Olympics as a staff, they are so well trained. They can tell us what they need, and then we go find and or do for them.
Okay.
So, and definitely sponsorship is always needed, because all of those athletes, they train and they participate for free. And so they are sponsored by not only us, but our donations throughout the year.
And that is going on, June 16th and 17th at Siena College and the various sites. But we're going to end the summer with the Maccabi
Yes,
Games.
the Maccabi Games.
All right.
This is very exciting. So we are one of 3 cities in the United States to be hosting the Maccabi Games this year. And it's the JCC Maccabi Games. So our Jewish community centers, both Albany and Schenectady, have teamed up to host this event. It's a major undertaking. So if you figure us, meaning Albany, Birmingham, Alabama, and Miami, Florida, those are the 3 cities. And JCC teams from all across the country, depending on the sport that they play, get assigned to which city that they go to.
Okay.
So we have outdoor sports. We have baseball, softball, basketball. We have hockey. Bowling. So we have a number of sports that are hosted here, different than which will be hosted in Birmingham and or Miami.
Okay.
And so with that, we're expecting 700 athletes,
Wow.
or roughly 70 teams from various JCCs around the country to descend upon us, and they will be housed. They will have homestays. The athletes will, but their families. This becomes a family event because their families come. Will stay in our hotels, and they will be here for the opening ceremonies, which our public is invited to join us for at the Times Union Center, and that's on Sunday, August 6th. And then throughout the week they will compete at various venues and for their sporting events. And so the neat thing is this weekend, well, they have an advanced delegation that comes here, and this is where people from around the country, they're officials that will come here and actually see Albany.
Okay.
So we've already been planning how to wow them, everything from welcome bags and tchotchkes and special kosher candies upon their welcome. The Desmond has some special welcome because they're staying there for this advance, and then they will get to tour all of the venues.
Okay.
And give the seal of approval that Albany is rip-roaring ready to go to host them later this summer.
Wow, well, that is exciting. I think it's an interesting twist that the athletes actually stay with families. Now, how are the families? How does the JCC select the families?
Well, they're considered approved Jewish homes because it's also a cultural exchange. How do Jewish families live in the capital region versus in Miami, Florida, or in Kentucky, or in California? What synagogues do they go to? What Hebrew schools do they attend, and or public schools? How is their Judaism lived in their home? And they'll do several events for all of the kids to be together. In addition to their special sporting events, they'll do a night together at Lucky Strike Social at Crossgates. And I don't know if they're still planning a night at the museum, but they were trying to come up with a way to do that.
Sure.
Based on the movie.
That would be very cool.
So I don't know if that's still going to happen because it might have been a surprise. So I don't know if I've just given something away.
Okay.
But they'll do several things to not only get to know each other as a family, but then as a group.
Okay.
And the biggest thing is on their last days is trading. So we were coming up with, what could they trade? Do they want an Albany pin or do they want a button? And we said everybody needs that little business card holder for the back of their phone. So that's what we wanted to give, so that, we want Albany's out there and a memory of that, because that's not going to go anywhere. Because, kids, that phone's not going to go far from their body.
No. Wow. Well, that is very cool.
Yeah. So they'll trade T-shirts and other things. So just to brag on the fact that they were here.
Wow. So that's great for the kids, for the athletes. Now, the families that are traveling, is there a special focus, though, for the families that are coming to obviously watch the competition, but then...
Well, there'll be several... So Maccabi, the JCC Maccabi games will actually coordinate some things for the families, but the goal is really for them to have a mini vacation while they're here. So as you know, there's so many things to do in the capital region in early August. Everything from showcasing up at the track to events. There's something free going on every night here, from a live at 5 to a concert at the Plaza to just live entertainment, to even going to the New York State Museum or the Science Museum in Schenectady. So there are things
or the
all
Slater,
around.
checking out the Slater.
Yes. So we're really excited to just showcase Albany County as well as the entire region while they're here.
And so that's August 6th through the 10th through the 11th, 10th through 11th. Wow.
Yeah,
and we haven't even hit the entire list yet.
I know.
And we're running out of time. Soccer events.
Soccer is a great sport. It brings a variety of ages and teams here really throughout the year, because throughout the winter season and fall season we have AFRAMs,
Sure.
But then in our summer season, the Capital District Youth Soccer League, they host a variety of events. Guilderland has some wonderful fields, both DiCaprio fields and Knott Road fields, that host several events.
Right, I forgot. Okay.
Yes, and the Parks and Rec department within Guilderland does a phenomenal job. I mean, not only in maintaining them, but really welcoming them when they're here. And again, our the FC Dutchman group, that's who is hosting this. I think this is their 35th year in hosting this Memorial Weekend tournament.
Okay,
and it does fill many of our hotels and restaurants on Wolf Road, and
2,000 people.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you see kids running through the mall in their cleats, you might know that they're soccer kids that are here in town for the weekend. Lacrosse is another. I mean, our lacrosse events have really grown probably over the last 5 years, and really because of the fields that are at UAlbany. When they added the new stadium, they also upgraded other athletic facilities on the campus, and lacrosse fields were among those that have enjoyed refurbishing and everything there. So there's several lacrosse events that happen here, both on that high school and college level. But that high school level, they're coming here because of the very competitive play, as well as the recruiters that are here during those events. And teams as far as Maryland. And Maryland is another major state for lacrosse. We are, because New York State is one of the largest states for girls being recruited.
Oh, really?
For college. And again, it doesn't matter the level of play, but there's such good lacrosse, high schools that have lacrosse.
Strong programs.
Yes, strong programs right here in New York State. So we're a hub for that.
Wow. Well, we're winding down. Bowling.
We have 2 women's events coming up. Actually, by the time this airs, we would have had our first teen challenge at Spare Time, but we have the Women's 600 Club. That event has not been here in probably 8 or 9 years.
500 people.
Yes. And bring it on, women bowlers. The great thing about them is it becomes a girls' weekend.
Well, you know what? I'm going to stop you there, Gina, and say if you have any spare time,
you want to go bowling.
That's where people want to go, bowling. I'm going to have you back to talk about things that are not sports related. There's just so much stuff going on.
There is.
Well, thank you for being such an advocate for Albany County.
I love it. I live it and breathe it, and just, it's wonderful.
Well, you know what? It certainly shows.
Thank
so
you.
Thank you. Gina Mintzer, Director of Sales for the Albany County Convention and Visitors Bureau, has been our guest today. If you want to know any more information, certainly you can go to albanycounty.com, or you can look up the Albany County Convention and Visitors Bureau and see all of the wonderful programs, activities, links to any of these events. So I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. We'll see you again soon.